Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of World Panorama, your weekly roundup of all major international news and events. I'm Teena Jha. Let's begin with the top stories this week. Angela Merkel elected for a fourth term as German Chancellor, putting an end to a nearly 6-month-long political drift in Europe's biggest economy. Lawmakers vote 364-315 to re-elect Merkel, who ran unopposed. US President Donald Trump fires Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, replacing him with former CIA Director Mike Pompeo. Tillerson's departure follows months of tension between him and the president. India, a growing market for solar power, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates a solar power plant in Uttar Pradesh along with French President Emmanuel Macron. Plant to produce 157 million units of power annually. And one of the brightest stars among scientists, Stephen Hawking, passed away earlier this week. The world pays tributes to the physicist who unlocked the secrets of the cosmos from his wheelchair. Our top story this week is from Germany, where lawmakers re-elected Angela Merkel as Chancellor for a fourth term. The new term may prove to be the most challenging one for Merkel as she takes charge of a fragile coalition with her personal standing diminished. The voting took place on Wednesday, with lawmakers voting 364-315 in favour of re-electing Merkel. 9 legislators abstained from voting.
Frau Abgeordnete Dr. Merkel, ich frage Sie, nehmen Sie die Wahl an?
Ja, Herr Präsident, ich nehme die Wahl an.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel was sworn in on Wednesday for a fourth and likely final term that may prove her most challenging yet, as she took charge of a fragile coalition with her personal standing diminished.
Ich schwöre, dass ich meine Kraft dem Wohle des deutschen Volkes widmen.
I swear that I will dedicate my efforts to the well-being of the German people, promote their welfare, protect them from harm, uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of the Federation, also perform my duties consciously and do justice to all.
Werde. So wahr mir Gott helfe.
Lawmakers voted 364-315 with 9 abstentions in favour of re-electing Merkel, a humbling start as the coalition of her conservatives and the centre-left Social Democrats has 399 votes in the Bundestag, lower house of parliament.
Ergebnis der Wahl bekannt. Abgegebene Stimmen 692.
I will now announce the result of the vote. 692 votes were submitted, there were 4 invalid votes and 688 valid votes. 364 voted yes, 315 voted no, and there were 9 abstentions. Dr. Angela Merkel achieved the necessary majority of at least 355 votes, and thus in line with Article 63, paragraph 2 of the Constitution, she is elected Chancellor.
63 Absatz 2 des Grundgesetzes zur Bundeskanzlerin gewählt. Ich frage Sie.
After lawmakers voted in favour of re-electing Merkel, she received her certificate of office from President Frank-Walter Steinmeier before swearing the oath of office in the German Parliament.
Die Bundeskanzlerin ist gewählt. Zur Ernennung verlese ich die folgende Urkunde.
The Chancellor has been elected. To appoint her, I shall read out the following document. In the name of the Federal Republic of Germany, on the basis of Article 63, paragraph 2 of the Constitution, I appoint Dr. Angela Merkel as Chancellor.
Den 14. März 2018, der Bundespräsident.
In office since 2005, Merkel has dominated Germany's political landscape and steered the European Union through economic crisis. But her authority was dented by her decision in 2015 to commit Germany to an open-door policy on refugees, resulting in an influx of more than 1 million people that laid bare deep divisions within the EU over migration. While also being locked in a trade standoff with the United States, Merkel must now juggle competing domestic demands from within her coalition. Her conservative CDU-CSU alliance only turned to the SPD to prolong the grand coalition that has governed Germany since 2013 out of desperation after talks on a three-way alliance with two smaller parties collapsed last November. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
And moving on to the United States, where President Donald Trump fired Secretary of State Rex Tillerson on Tuesday after a series of public rifts over his policies on North Korea, Russia and Iran. Trump's chief diplomat will be replaced by loyalist CIA Director Mike Pompeo. Trump announced the biggest shakeup of his cabinet on Twitter.
US President Donald Trump fired Secretary of State Rex Tillerson on Tuesday after a series of public rifts over policy on North Korea, Russia and Iran, replacing his chief diplomat with loyalist CIA Director Mike Pompeo.
My commission as Secretary of State will terminate at midnight, March the 31st. Between now and then, I will address a few administrative matters related to my departure and work towards a smooth and orderly transition for Secretary of State-designate Mike Pompeo.
The biggest shakeup of Trump's cabinet since he took office in January 2017 was announced by the president on Twitter, as his administration works towards an unprecedented meeting with the leader of North Korea.
Rex and I have been talking about this for a long time. We got along actually quite well, but we disagreed on things. When you look at the Iran deal, I think it's terrible. I guess he thought it was okay. I wanted to either break it or do something, and he felt a little bit differently. So we were not really thinking the same. With Mike Pompeo, we have a very similar thought process. I think it's going to go very well.
Tillerson's departure capped months of friction between the Republican president and the 65-year-old former ExxonMobil chief executive who had no diplomatic or political experience before becoming Secretary of State. The tensions peaked last fall amid reports that Tillerson had called Trump a moron and considered resigning.
I'm not going to deal with petty stuff like that. I mean, this is what I don't understand about Washington. Again, I'm not from this place. But the places I come from, we don't deal with that kind of petty nonsense.
Meanwhile, Japanese Foreign Minister Taro Kono expressed disappointment over the firing of Tillerson.
He was really someone I could trust and be honest with, and I thought we could work together toward resolving issues surrounding North Korea. Personally, I am very disappointed this had to happen.
China, too, reacted to Tillerson's sacking and hoped for continued development in Sino-US relations.
Now, during his tenure, Secretary of State Tillerson kept close communication with China. We appreciate his efforts to develop China-US relations. We hope he will continue to follow and support the development of China-US relations.
There had been reports in recent months that Tillerson could be replaced, but senior State Department officials said he did not know why Trump pushed him out and that he intended to stay in the job. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And back home, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with French President Emmanuel Macron, inaugurated the largest solar power plant in Uttar Pradesh earlier this week. Macron concluded his 4-day visit to India on Monday. Details of his visit in this report.
French President Emmanuel Macron enjoying a boat ride with Prime Minister Modi in Varanasi, all the way from Assi Ghat to the Shashwamedh Ghat, a distance of about 500 meters. A motorboat called Kailasha was readied for the visiting French leader to enjoy the famous river tour and soak in the rich cultural heritage. of the boat ride, the French President and Prime Minister Modi visited the Deen Dayal Hastakala Sankul to interact with artisans. The leaders also witnessed a live demonstration of their crafts. The French president had started the day by inaugurating the 75-megawatt solar power plant in Mirzapur along with Prime Minister Modi. The largest solar power plant in Uttar Pradesh has been built in collaboration with French solar power giant NG Solar at Dadar Kala, some 25 kilometers from Mirzapur under the International Solar Alliance program. Around 118,600 solar panels have been installed in over 380 acres of land, which will generate 156 million units of electricity every year. On Sunday, India and France had co-hosted the first summit of the International Solar Alliance. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for a short break on the program. We'll be right back.
Soil has more carbon than plants and the atmosphere combined together. Because of the past mismanagement, because of the past extractive farming practices, because of ignorance, because of taking soil for granted, we have depleted the carbon content of the soils of India and the rest of the world. The nation that destroys its soil destroys itself.
Watch Eureka with Professor Ratan Lal, eminent soil scientist, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back after the break. From astronauts to world leaders, tributes have been pouring in for Stephen Hawking, the modern British physicist and author who died at the age of 76. Scientists called Hawking's life a triumph. British Prime Minister Theresa May described Hawking as brilliant and extraordinary. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Hawking's grit and tenacity inspired people all over the world. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu described Hawking's death as a huge loss to the scientific world.
News of the death of physicist Stephen Hawking's death triggered an outpouring of tributes across the world. Celebrities, public figures and scientists from around the world took to social media to mourn his death. The University of Cambridge, where Professor Hawking completed his PhD, called him an inspiration to millions. Astronomer Royal Lord Rees, one of the world's most eminent scientists, described his life as a triumph. Others described him as a unique individual whose death left an intellectual vacuum in his wake. NASA said Professor Hawking's theories unlocked a universe of possibilities. It added, "May you keep flying like Superman in microgravity," as you said to astronauts on the International Space Station in 2014. The inventor of the World Wide Web, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, praised Professor Hawking's colossal mind and wonderful spirit. The European Space Agency shared a photo of Professor Hawking in 2007 experiencing zero gravity aboard a plane alongside a caption which said, "He showed us there are no limits to achieving our dreams." Many have also praised his humour, with actor Eddie Redmayne, who portrayed Professor Hawking in the film biopic The Theory of Everything in 2014, calling him the funniest man I have ever met. Tributes also came from the entertainment industry. Neuroscientist and the Big Bang Theory actress Mayim Bialik, who met with Professor Hawking when he starred in an episode of the series, shared a photo of him and the cast. Professor Hawking's family said in a statement, his courage and persistence with his brilliance and humour inspired people across the world. World leaders too took to Twitter to pay tributes to Hawking. Praising Hawking, British Prime Minister Theresa May said he was a brilliant and extraordinary mind, one of the greatest scientists of his generation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also condoled the demise of cosmologist Hawking and said that his grit and tenacity inspired people all over the world. He described Hawking as an outstanding scientist. China too offered condolences over Stephen Hawking's death.
We wish to express our regrets and condolences on Hawking's untimely death. We also wish to express our condolences to his relatives.
There was a particular outpouring of emotion in Japan. Many people said they grew up reading Professor Hawking's book.
I am a student majoring in science and engineering. I took an interest in this subject when I saw a book by Stephen Hawking on the black hole in elementary school. He had a mind that no ordinary person can fathom. I wonder if he was able to convey everything that he wanted to convey through his research.
I wanted him to present more of his thrilling findings. I am saddened by his death.
Hawking made several discoveries that transformed the way scientists viewed black holes and the universe. He is survived by his 3 children, Lucy, Robert and Tim. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here's a quick wrap of some other updates from across the world in GlobeWatch. At least 49 people were killed in a plane crash near the Tribhuvan International Airport in Kathmandu on Monday. The US Bangla Airlines flight was on its way from Dhaka and crashed while landing near the airport fence. The chief executive officer of the airlines accused Kathmandu's air traffic control for giving wrong signals. But the airport's general manager said the pilot disregarded their messages and came in from the wrong direction. 71 people were on board the flight, including 4 crew members. After British Prime Minister Theresa May ordered the immediate expulsion of 23 Russian diplomats on Wednesday, Russia announced it was expelling 23 British diplomats and threatened further measures in retaliation in a growing diplomatic dispute over a nerve agent attack on a former spy in Britain. The Russian Foreign Ministry also said in a statement that it is ordering the closure of the British Council, a government organization for cultural and scientific cooperation, and that it is ending an agreement to reopen the British consulate in St. Petersburg. Russia is preparing to vote for the presidential elections on Sunday. Vladimir Putin is eyeing a second consecutive and 4th overall term as president. His most vocal opponent, Alexei Navalny, has been disqualified from the race, and the other opposition candidates have been vetted by the state. A second-round vote could be held 3 weeks later if no candidate secures an absolute majority, but that seems extremely unlikely. Thousands of Syrians are fleeing the southernmost part of the Three Pocket in Ghouta, the first mass exodus from the area since the government unleashed one of the deadliest offensives of war. Russian officials said that by Friday, over 12,000 people had left the region. Backed by Russia and Iran, government forces have thrust deep into eastern Ghouta, splintering the area into 3 separate enclaves. The United Nations believes up to 4 lakh people have been trapped inside the rebel-held area. At least 6 people were killed and 9 others injured after a newly built 950-ton footbridge collapsed near Florida International University in Miami. At least 8 vehicles were trapped in the wreckage of the bridge and 10 people were transported to hospitals. The National Transportation Safety Board is planning to investigate the collapse and will deploy a team of 15 specialists that will include engineering, material science and survival factor experts. And let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some sports news in our segment Sports Action. Lionel Messi scored 2 brilliant goals and created another for Ousmane Dembele as Barcelona thrashed Chelsea 3-0 on Wednesday. The Spanish side reached the Champions League quarter-finals 4-1 on aggregate. Messi opened the scoring after 2 minutes and 8 seconds, the quickest goal of his career. Barcelona reached the Champions League quarter-finals for the 11th consecutive season, while Chelsea were left facing a battle to qualify for the competition again, as they scrap for a top 4 finish in the Premier League. Manchester United suffered a shock exit in the Champions League last 16 with a 2-1 loss to Sevilla after substitute Wissam Ben Yedder struck twice at Old Trafford on Tuesday. The Spaniards, who had never won a Champions League match in England, moved into the quarter-finals of Europe's elite club competition for the first time since 1958, having drawn the first leg 0-0. Jose Mourinho's side was stunned by the 2 late strikes from Frenchman Ben Yedder, and although Romelu Lukaku pulled the goal back, United's once promising European campaign came to a sorry end. FIFA announced their latest rankings on Thursday, with Joachim Löw, Germany remaining in the top spot ahead of Brazil. Following a quiet period with hardly any international games, not many positions have changed in the ranking. Portugal and Argentina follow in 3rd and 4th place, before Belgium complete the top 5. Poland were the only movers among the 10 highest-ranked nations, climbing to join 6th place alongside Spain. Switzerland, France and Chile complete the top 10. Nine-time world champion Valentino Rossi signed a 2-year contract extension to stay with Yamaha. The Italian has been with Yamaha for 13 seasons, but his contract had been set to expire at the end of 2018. His new contract means he will continue racing until he's at least 41 years old, making him the first rider since Colin Edwards in 2014 to race while in his 40s. Rossi will partner Spain's Maverick Vinales for the next 2 seasons. The 2018 Champions Trophy hockey competition for men will start with the mouth-watering clash between traditional rivals India and Pakistan. The International Hockey Federation tournament will be held in Breda, the Netherlands, from 23rd June to the 1st of July 2018. 6 of the top men's hockey-playing nations will compete in the 2018 Champions Trophy. Hosts Netherlands, Argentina and Australia qualified for the 2018 Champions Trophy automatically, while India, Pakistan and Belgium were invited by the FIH Executive Board. Massive northern lights were seen dancing in the sky over the Arctic Circle overnight from Wednesday to Thursday. The bright white, green and even pink auroras were clearly visible to the naked eye. Northern lights, also known as aurora borealis, are a result of collisions between electrically charged particles from the sun that enter the Earth's atmosphere. We are going to leave you with these visuals. Thanks for your time.